as human beings, we tend to take things for granted. And if you're not pouring into something and you're not staying focused on improving that thing, it most likely won't improve on its own. And I believe a relationship is just like that. So
there's a jar in the center of the table, and there's a pen and a little notepad. And every single day, what you do is you write a little love note about what you love about your partner, and then you fold it up and you put it in the love jar. And we do it for an entire month.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1037. Last week's live podcast, Is Your Self-Worth Too Low? Today, for episode number 1038, happy Wednesday, a simple way to add variety to your relationship. I'm crying because Alan and I were just laughing so hard before we recorded this episode. Hopefully you are having a wonderful, wonderful week and having a wonderful Wednesday. My beautiful fiance, soon-to-be wife, and I went to a little mini golf course this past Sunday. So we usually do our date day on Sunday. And I said, babe, I got a little surprise. I took care of it. I'm going to take you out today. We're going to go and we're going to do some stuff. Now, mind you, it was 92 degrees, I think, on Sunday, so maybe mini golf with no cover and no trees was not the best option because Taryn burns quite easily, so we had to sunscreen her up. But we pulled up, and I said, why don't we pretend that this is our first date? And I'll walk up to the window and get the clubs like it's our first date, and we'll basically do everything like it's our first date. And it was very challenging. It was way more challenging than you might think, because when you've been calling somebody babe for the last 3 years, it's very challenging to call them by their real name, their first name, in the middle of a mini golf game or when you're telling jokes. And it was like I'd go to put my arm around her, and I was like, oh, can't do that because that's a little sketchy on the first date. And even the conversation, a couple times she said, I don't remember what I said. I think I said something about Alan. She's like, who's Alan? And I was like, oh yeah, no, yeah, Alan's my business partner. It was such an interesting little experience. And then after that, so actually when we were playing, I said, what do you think of loser buys ice cream and the winner gets a kiss on the cheek? And she said, well, I don't know about this kiss on the cheek business. We're going to have to see how the rest of this goes, but I'm definitely down to do loser buys ice cream. So I ended up winning. I am a vicious putter when it comes to mini golf. You do not want to get in my way. I ended up winning, and I said, hey, do you mind or are you interested in if we go hit some golf balls? I want to hit the driving range. And she's like, I don't really want to do that because it's 95 degrees out and I'm terrible, but I'm happy to watch you do it. And I said, okay, cool. I'm also terrible. We'll see what happens.
How'd it go?
Terribly. It was the worst ever. Very bad. Yeah, it was
Really?
not good at all. Yes, I'm not good at all. Worse than I used to be. Yeah. And I have...
That's why you specified a putter in mini golf.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that.
Calluses.
That big
you gotta
blister
wear the
there.
glove, man.
I didn't have a glove handy. What do you think, I'm a professional?
No, I don't know.
It was $11 for this bucket. I wasn't going to go in for another 10 for one glove I'm going to use one time. So after that, we went, and Taryn forgot her debit card in the car, so I had to pay for ice cream anyway. So it's not like I got my end of the victory. But when we were leaving, we were having a conversation on the way to the car, and she was like, thank you so much for this fun date. It was awesome. And we were talking about how funny it was. It was a really different, interesting thing to do. And that, I think, if you can find a way in your relationship to make things a little more, what's the plural word of variety? Varietous?
Oh, jeez. I honestly have no idea.
If you can find more variety in your relationship, I think that
if you can find more varietous.
Just like anything else, you tend to settle into a groove and you do what's easy, you do what's normal, you do what you've always done. So maybe under other circumstances, we would have gone out to lunch or we would have gone out to dinner or whatever it might be. I thought it was a really good idea to treat it like a first date. So I thought I would share that all with you. It's very simple, but it's also one of those things that you can work off of. I remember we talked about this a long time ago, Alan. Tara and I had this book. It's called The Adventure Challenge, and it's kind of like a scratch ticket, excuse me, where you open it up and you scratch off a challenge. And one of the challenges that we scratched off was go to the dollar store and with a budget of $10, buy your partner a bunch of things that remind you of them. And that was awesome. We made It was snowing that day. We went to the gym. On the way back, we stopped. I ran into Taryn there, and we pretended we didn't know each other. And that was really fun, too. So a couple of simple tips, a couple of simple things you can try to make more variety in your relationship so it does not get stale.
Where are you getting all these ideas, man? Is that from that thing?
No, that one was. The mini golf and first date one was just, I don't know. I told Taryn, I said, I feel like we've been doing a lot of adulting lately. You know, we're planning and her more than I, she's been amazing. We're planning our trip to Colorado. We're going to be eloping in 2 weeks. So that's like a heavy thing in terms of, there's a lot of planning. There's a lot of financial things that go into that. So that's heavy. You know, business, we've been super, super busy, you and I.
Yeah.
So there hasn't been a lot of that kind of variety when it comes to quality time. So I was trying to think of something fun that was a little bit different, something that wouldn't be stale, something that would be the normal. It would be a nice, pleasant surprise. That was my thought.
One thing was interesting. So Emilia was away on I guess you could call it a business trip. She was away for the weekend with her business partner, Bianca. She's also a client of mine, Bianca is, and a dear friend as well. But Emilia and I were talking when she got home how weird it was to be apart for 3 days. I mean, we missed each other so much, and it was Emilia had shared with me, and the feeling was mutual of I've never missed someone that much in my entire life. It's so interesting. It was just Tucker and I here all weekend, by ourselves, and I definitely want to come up more on the variety side, but the way in which we create variety, and we've only been living together, Kev, now for it was a year. It was a year as of I think a week ago. She sent me a video of the very first time we came into this home, so it's been a year. Crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so the way we've gotten variety thus far is adventure weekends. So my aunt has a place that they Airbnb'd for the entire summer, and it's in Narragansett. So we're going to be going next week. And then for the holidays, we're actually going to a national park. I'm not 100% sure which. It's on the whiteboard downstairs. But those fun, unique things of variety I could probably come up on for sure.
Where for those maybe international or non-local listeners, where is Narragansett?
Right. Narragansett. It's yeah, right. Well, you plug it in the GPS, it takes you there and you show up. No, it's in Rhode Island. So, it's a place apparently like a mile from the beach.
Sell us on it.
Yes. So it's a mile from the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, dude, I don't even know what we're gonna do. I mean, I think it's gonna be the traditional weekend. One thing that did jump off the page when you were talking is a couple things. Number one, I would love to create a little more variety, for sure. Number two, we actually have a lot of variety, Kev, on the business side. So with so Emilia and I have a business together. It's called The We. So Next Level University is the name of the business for Kevin and I. The business for Emilia and I is The We. But we have a couple facets. One is called the Conscious Couples Podcast. One is called Relationship Talks, which is coaching, Relationship Talks coaching. And then we also have monthly events as well, similar to the monthly meetups at Next Level U. So most of our variety is coming through business endeavors and stuff like that. But we also went away the weekend after July 4th. Her parents own a place in Otis, Massachusetts on a lake. And for whatever reason, they do fireworks the weekend after the 4th of July. And it was crazy, Kev. I mean, picture a lake where everyone takes their boats out and just watches fireworks from the beach. It was wild. It was one of the best firework displays I've ever seen. We hitched our pontoon boat to another pontoon boat. It's pretty awesome, honestly. But stuff like that, really. And then the Airbnbs and the adventure weekends. So Kevin and I set the intention early this year. We came into a good amount of revenue, and we decided it would be a good idea to do a quarterly adventure with Emilia and Taryn separately. So Kevin and Taryn, and then Emilia and Alan, Emilia and myself, and and we went to Vermont. We're trying to hit all the states. We're trying to have some variety in here, but essentially, adventure weekends are kind of what I've been focused on for the most part. Go ahead, Kev.
I'm just trying not to spit out my water. We're trying to hit all the states. Trying to do all the things. Oh, Lord. Yeah, we were talking about that when we started the year, whenever it was last year. And I said, Alan, I think we should do quarterly getaways. We'll have a budget, like $750 or $1,000, $750,000, and we'll just make memories because we get so caught up in what we're doing the day to day. It's nice to get away a little bit. And is there still work getting done? Yes, we try to make sure there's a strong Wi-Fi signal and all that happy jazz. I was working in the morning from a cabin in the woods. It's like this tiny cabin. It was
what
awesome.
Mountain did you guys go to?
What mountain did
Stratton,
we go to?
Right?
No.
Stratton.
I don't remember what mountain it was. I don't remember. It was fun.
You went snowboarding, right?
Yeah. I shredded the gnar.
You shredded the gnar.
I've
I just
heard
had
you're-
this moment too.
I've heard you're
What?
pretty good, but you know.
I do. I do shred the gnar
Yeah.
decently. We'll have to go sometime. We will eventually.
Doubtful. Highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. One thing that just jumped off the page as well that Emilia and I have been doing that is actually a really good idea. We've been playing sports together. So as you know, as a listener of this show, you know Kevin and I are doing a 10-pound in 10-week challenge. So if we can't weigh in 10 pounds lighter by August 1st, so for me 180, for him 170, then one of us will not show up to the episode, or both of us. We did that. That was, I don't know what episode number that was.
Me either.
Probably a month or, well, it had to be almost 10 weeks ago because
I'll have to
8
find
weeks
out.
ago.
I don't know if I can right now, though.
But anyways, so Emilia and I have been very deep in a cut. And so we've been playing a lot more sports. We play basketball together. We've been playing soccer together. And obviously we weight train together as well. But that's actually really fun. So Kev, we played soccer. That was the first time I played soccer since I was a little kid, honestly. And we were doing drills and we had the whole field to ourselves across the street from, it was at the old high school.
Yeah.
At the old high school, yeah. And that was a little bit, honestly, that was a lot more fun than I expected. She said I'm like a gazelle or a giraffe, I forget which. She said my legs are so long that I'm like a lot faster than she thought. But we had a lot of fun with that, honestly.
Bonnie here. I just wanted to share my experience with group coaching and some of the things that I got out of it. So going into group coaching, I was not tracking any habits at all. And I had sort of jumped on board habit tracking here and there, knowing it was a good idea, but not sort of ever succeeding with it. And so now some of them have become habits. I'm happy to say I wake up, I have a glass of water without even thinking about it anymore. So now I think it's probably time to gear up and like increase my water intake or change the water one a little bit, something like that. And so I highly encourage people to jump into group coaching. There's so much information that you will get out of it. I recommend bringing a notebook to all of the sessions and taking lots of notes, asking lots of questions, and rewatching the videos, because it is the video coaching part is just packed with information. I also really recommend that you check in with your accountability buddy and sort of lift each other up throughout the experience, because there's lots of momentum, it's really exciting, and then it gets hard. And so stick with it and carry on, and your life will be better for it. Okay, take care.
I think there's ways in everything. Taryn and I were going to the gym. We're not now together because I've been doing boxing. So I usually get up and go to the gym pretty early. I just box. I haven't been lifting weights, Alan. You'd be mind blown.
I've been playing a lot more sports lately.
Good.
I've been playing basketball a lot more than lifting weights. It makes sense. We're focused on burning calories more than building muscle, but I definitely, I think a two-thirds. I want to do 2 weight training to every 1 cardio. Lately, it's been the opposite, honestly.
Yeah, same. And I think the other thing too, and we haven't talked about this in a while, but you have to understand your partner's love languages. One of the reasons I'm big on variety is because Taryn values that way more than I do. I'm not somebody who requires a lot of variety. I like simple certainty is what I like, and she likes to be surprised and have fun, unique experiences and gifts and thoughtful things. And that's an interesting thing to understand in your relationship, because I think that one of the things that happens to me is I fall back on, I would like the weekend to look this way. If it was up to me and there was no other input involved, the weekend would look this way. So when I woke up on Sunday, last Sunday, we went to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is our little date spot. But I was thinking, okay, usually we'll go somewhere and then we'll lay low the next weekend. I was thinking to myself, okay, well, Taryn's still sleeping. Let me figure out something we can do. Something that's close, something that's easy, something that's cheap. It's not going to break the bank. It's not going to take all day because I know we want to organize and clean up the house and plan for Colorado. But there has to be a level of thoughtfulness involved. And I know sometimes that's not on the top of my mind. Not in a selfish way, but it's one of those things of sometimes the week just gets by me. It's Saturday and I'm thinking to myself, tomorrow's already Sunday. I don't have anything planned. I'm already behind. Another thing, this is a good thing too. We'll leave each other little love notes. So the other day, I put it on the outside of the door. I don't remember if I think it just said you have the most beautiful smile or something. And we'll just leave them around the house. We'll put them on the mirror. We'll put them, in the fridge or near the fridge. That's another interesting thing you can do just to keep things fresh. We, as human beings, we tend to take things for granted. And if you're not pouring into something and you're not staying focused on improving that thing, it most likely won't improve on its own. And I believe a relationship is just like that. So a couple simple, hopefully cheap, low barrier to entry things you can do to provide more variety to your partner.
I got a couple more that just came to mind while you were talking. And I don't want this to be like a who's putting more variety in their relationship.
We'll find out, won't
we? For sure. I went to the grocery store last night. And these little things, I'm telling you, it's so important. I got chocolate fudge brownies, and I surprised her. And I was like, oh, by the way, I got you a surprise. And she came over and she said, I got you a surprise too. I forget what hers was. But there was another thing too, the love jar. We've been doing a love jar, but the other way around. So the love jar is something we created at the We, where you literally, if you were to go downstairs into outside our kitchen where we have our dining table, there's a jar in the center of the table. And there's a pen and little notepad. And every single day, what you do is you write a little love note about what you love about your partner, and then you fold it up and you put it in the love jar. And we do it for an entire month. 2 months ago, it was for me, so we did it for a whole month, and then I read them for a whole month. And then this time it's for her. So so she's writing what she loves about herself now, and I'm writing what I love about her, and then we flip-flopped it. It was me before. But that's a really, really good idea. And I would recommend, if anyone wants to do that with their partner, I would recommend doing it where you put the love jar somewhere where you pass it regularly and put a pen and a little notepad right there so that you can't miss it. If you make it difficult, it won't happen, trust me. Yeah. And I would do something you love about each other. One thing per day or one thing per week or whatever. Just make sure it's daily or weekly or some sort of consistent run rate. And then when you two decide to open the love jar, just make sure that when you fold it up, you put the name on the front of it, and then you can open them together and read them together. It can be a cute little thing. I remember we went for a whole month of what I love about myself and what she loves about me, and it was an awesome morning. I mean, I read all of these, and it was definitely fun. And some of the things she came up with were really cool. And there was also one time this past week where I wrote, so we call each other Smush. You're my smush. Which I don't really know what that means other than like my smush, my cuddle bug. And I wrote a little note. She was working in the Nook, and I folded it up, and on the front of it I wrote "Open me" with like a little licky face. And when she opened it, it said, "You are my smush. That is all." So little things like that. She started laughing, but yeah, I think it's fun. It's important. It's super important. Yeah. Just little things that you can do to spice up the relationship.
I don't want to one-up you.
Well, if you have to, you have to.
I will. And then we got to go because we have to prep for as you know, I say this every week, every single episode forever. We do record on Mondays, and we have our live podcast tonight to prep.
Oh, yeah.
Taryn got, I don't know if she bought it or if it was gifted to us, but it's a mini donut maker. Which is amazing. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So one of the dates that I planned, I said, we're going to pretend. We like to pretend a lot. You're at a restaurant, and I'm your server, and I'm going to fall in love with you while I serve you. So I made coffee with our nice coffee machine, and I said, what would you, I literally went up with a little menu and wrote down what you wanted. And then I think I made chocolate mini donuts with a chocolate glaze. They were really, really, really good. And then I made her coffee. I brought it out to her, and then I made up a little bill, and then I think I left my number. And it was like you got to use your imagination. You got to use your imagination. If I learned anything during COVID, it was that. When there's nothing to do, you got to come up with stuff.
For sure.
And there just wasn't a lot to do. Most of the restaurants were closed. You couldn't really go outside. There wasn't a lot to do. We got a lot of takeout for sure, but we also tried to figure out what can you do at home. One of the things we did when we first started dating the first time, way back in the day, is we used to make blanket forts. We would make blanket forts. We would have tea, and then we would have like a fake candle that we would bring in. It'd be like a little camping trip. So,
nice.
You got anything to compare to that or no?
No, yeah, right. I would just say that it has to be a proactive thing.
Yes.
Randomly, we'll start dancing. I'll throw on a song because we have 3 Alexas in our home, and I'll literally ask her to dance, and we'll dance right in the middle of the living room. And then Tucker will bark at our legs, and he wants to join. And I'm very grateful. We have a lot of joy in our relationship, and I think that in a weird way, I think we're doing a lot more of that stuff than I realized. You know, it's we've been living together a year, and I didn't realize it was that long. It feels like just yesterday that we started living together. I can't believe a year went by that fast. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But those little things, Kev, kudos to you too for doing stuff like that. I think that's awesome.
Of course,
yeah, man,
of course.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well,
And
hell,
good,
we
go
ahead.
It's important.
Yeah, health, wealth, and love. Health, wealth, and love. I know we're very busy with everything that we do here, but that's one of my intentions. I want to make sure I'm pouring, and it does start with that awareness. It starts with the thoughtfulness. That's the place.
We should do an episode at some point on the top 5 cup fillers.
Mm.
So Emilia and I on the whiteboard, we have written out our cup fillers, and one of my peak performance tracking line items is one top 5 cup filler.
Mm.
And you mentioned love language. A cup filler is essentially one of the top love languages, and we should do an episode at some point on that, because there's a lot more love languages than the 5 love languages that Gary Chapman talks about in the book. And I know that we don't, a lot of times the stuff we teach at the We in Conscious Couples, we don't necessarily teach it in LU, but I honestly think we should, because the crossover isn't as much as I would like until we do an episode like this, and then it's like,
I'll run it by my guy.
Oh, perfect. What does he think? Do you think
see what he
it's a good
says.
idea?
Yeah, we'll see. I got to run it by him. You know what I mean?
Of course.
No, we can definitely do that. I think that's a great episode.
Awesome.
I'll write it down after we do this, and boom.
Perfect.
Next Level Nation. As you know, one of the things that we are big on in this community is community. If you are looking for more next levelness in your life, if you want to be able to share authentically and vulnerably what you're really going through, what you really want out of life, your experiences, your fears, your limiting beliefs, whatever it may be, your successes, please join our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. The link is in the show notes, and you can be yourself. If you want to attract your people, you must be yourself. That is the place to do it.
One of the most important books that I've ever read is right here. It's called Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. And I never would have thought this in my younger years. And the importance of courage and vulnerability, we're going to talk about that next week as well in these episodes. But on Book Club, we are reading Dare to Lead, the best book club session we have ever had. I think this is our 7th or 8th book, I forget which, but we're 69 sessions in. Next week will be our 70th, and last session was without a question the most powerful. And I know the reason why is because of the topic here. Very vulnerable, very emotional. Courage, dare to lead. Essentially, the thesis of this book is if you can't have courage in the face of your fears and you can't be vulnerable by stepping into your fears, you're not going to be able to lead others and inspire others. And so join us on Book Club, Brené Brown, Dare to Lead. We have a bunch of new members of Book Club, Kev, so you suggested and voted for this. So strong work on that. I've seen a lot of registrations come through. If you want to join Book Club, the registration link will be in the show notes.
And as we've mentioned before, if you're not reading the book yet, you can always come in late. You don't have to be on camera. It's just a great group of people with great books is the thought, the theme. Next Level Nation, tomorrow for episode number 1039. It is last week's live Q&A. How is my self-talk affecting my self-worth? As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of the week. And as always, at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.